Good evening, viewers. Welcome to the Northeast News Bulletin. This is Chirasmrita bringing to you the headlines first. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates Voice of Global South Summit, advocates restraint and dialogue in Hamas-Israel conflict. Voting comes to an end peacefully in single-phase assembly polls in Madhya Pradesh and final phase polls in Chhattisgarh. Meghalaya Cabinet endorses NCERT textbooks for 1st to 10th standards with modifications. Election Commission refuses to change December 3 vote counting date in Mizoram. And in FIFA Soccer World Cup qualifiers, India begins second round campaign with 1-0 victory over Kuwait. In national news first, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today said Voice of Global South is a unique platform reflecting the changing world in the 21st century. In his address at the inaugural session of the virtual Voice of Global South Summit, Modi said Global South has been able to find its voice after the concerted efforts of all Global South nations. Modi said this is the time when the countries of the Global South should unite for the greater global good. He said new challenges are emerging from the events in the West Asia region. He said India has condemned a terrorist attack in Israel on the 7th of October and laid emphasis on exercising restraint. He advocated dialogue and diplomacy.
वॉइस पहली बार मिल रही है और यह हम सभी के साझा प्रयासों से संभव हुआ है। हम 100 से ज्यादा अलग-अलग देश हैं, लेकिन हमारे हित समान है। हमारी प्राथमिकताएं समान है। फ्रेंड, पिछले वर्ष दिसंबर में जब भारत ने G20 की अध्यक्षता संभाली तो हमने इस फोरम में ग्लोबल साउथ के देशों की आवाज को आगे बढ़ाना अपना दायित्व माना।
On the other hand, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said the New Delhi leaders' declaration adopted during G20 summit will be remembered for bringing back the G20 focus on the real and serious concerns of the Global South. He said this in his opening remarks at the Foreign Ministers' session of the second Voice of Global South Summit. Dr. Jaishankar noted that while change is the natural order, there continues to be a resistance for a greater role for the Global South in shaping solutions for the key issues of present times. He said the Voice of Global South Summit can be greatly impactful by amplifying individual voices. The minister reaffirmed India's commitment to the Global South through an extensive range of development projects in 78 countries.
G20 has affirmed the fundamental importance of gender equality and committed to halve the digital gender gap by 2030. Recognizing that the post-pandemic world order must necessarily be different from the world before it, the leaders have also emphasized the need to reinvigorate multilateralism and reform international financial institutions, managing global debt vulnerabilities and encouraging more credible resourcing of SDG realization and green growth.
In more national news, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today said efforts should be made to effectively deal with the challenges posed by the artificial intelligence and deepfake technology. Addressing the media on the Deepavali Milan program organized by the BJP in New Delhi, Modi urged the journalists and media persons to make people aware and educate them on the challenges posed by these technologies. He also pitched for taking the country forward by focusing on the vision of Viksit Bharat. He said Viksit Bharat is not just a word for Indians, but it's a ground reality now. He expressed confidence that India has full potential to become a developed nation by the year 2047.
के लिए एफिशिएंसी इसलिए भी बढ़ रही है कि सोशल मीडिया की मदद से वो डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल की चीजों को वेरीफाई कर रहा है। एक बड़ा बदलाव नजर आ रहा है और मुझे पक्का विश्वास है कि ये बदलते हुए खास करके टेक्नोलॉजी की दुनिया है, उसका प्रभाव बहुत तेजी से हमारी सभी व्यवस्थाओं में बढ़ेगा। दो चीजें मुझे लगती हैं। एक, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के कारण और उसमें भी डीप फेक के कारण जो एक नया संकट आ रहा है, भारत का बहुत बड़ा वर्ग ऐसा है कि उसके पास वेरिफिकेशन के लिए या ऑथेंटिफाई करने के लिए कोई उसके पास पैरेलल व्यवस्था नहीं है। अगर सरकार को वहां पहुंचना है तो डिस्टेंस भी तो मैटर करता है। अब आपको तो डिस्टेंस, समय मैटर ही नहीं करता है, तुरंत पहुंच जाता है। अगर लोगों को एजुकेट कर सकते हैं हम हमारे कार्यक्रमों के द्वारा कि आखिर है क्या, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस कैसे काम कर रहा है, डीप फेक क्या कर सकता है और कितना बड़ा संकट पैदा कर सकता है।
Voting for single-phase assembly elections in Madhya Pradesh and second and final phase of polling in Chhattisgarh concluded peacefully today. In Madhya Pradesh, polling took place for all the 230 seats in a single phase. Voting began at 7 a.m. and concluded at 6 in the evening. However, in Behar, Lanji and Parswara assembly seats of Balaghat district and some booths of Mandla and Dindori districts, voting was held till 3 p.m. Over 71% voter turnout was recorded till 5 p.m. In Chhattisgarh, polling is taking place for 70 constituencies out of a total of 90 assembly seats in the second phase. Voting started at 8 a.m. and concluded at 6 p.m., while in 9 polling stations of Vindranavgarh assembly constituency, voting was held till 5 p.m. Over 68% voter turnout was recorded till 5 p.m. Moving on, Union Minister for Earth Sciences Kiran Rijiju reached Maldives to represent India at the oath-taking ceremony of Dr. Mohammad Muizzu as the new president. Rijiju met outgoing President Ibrahim Mohamed Soli and highlighted the depth and progress of the India-Maldives bilateral relationship that has grown over the last few years. The Parliament Secretariat of Maldives has confirmed that dignitaries from 46 countries would participate in the inauguration ceremony. Dr. Muizzu defeated incumbent President Soli in the recent run of elections held in September. Moving on to the Northeast now, Meghalaya Cabinet on Thursday approved the proposal for adoption of the NCERT textbook with some modifications in certain subjects which will be carried out by Meghalaya Board of Secondary Education. Chief Minister Conrad Sangma said that in the coming academic year, the process is going to start. The Cabinet decided to allow the adaptation of the NCERT textbook from class 1 to 10. He informed that in the first phase, MOEC will adopt NCERT textbooks for subjects like English, mathematics and science. He said this decision has been taken in consultation with schools. The Cabinet also approved the proposal for a permanent Meghalaya Education Recruitment Board.
Education quality needs to be brought up because our students need to compete at the national level, and hence keeping all of these factors in mind, we are doing this. We also understand that it is not simple, it will be challenging, and we all have to work together, but we need to start somewhere. If we keep waiting and holding on to a decision like this, then we will never see.
Still in Meghalaya, Chief Minister Conrad K. Sangma today flagged off the Mobile Ex-Servicemen Contributory Health Scheme Polyclinic to Tura at Rhino Training Center, Shillong. In a social media post, Sangma said the government is grateful for the service the armed forces and ex-servicemen extend to the country. The mobile polyclinic, which aims to provide medical care to ex-servicemen, is a very special gesture of gratitude for their service. The government will continue to support the initiatives taken for their welfare. In news from Mizoram, in response to numerous appeals from political parties, civil society organizations and church denominations, the Election Commission of India, ECI, will not postpone the date of vote count for the recent elections to the 40-member State Assembly. Mizoram Chief Electoral Officer Madhu Vyas, who returned from New Delhi after holding discussions with the Election Commission, has said the counting is scheduled for December 3 as initially announced by the Commission. The Manipur government has disapproved of the demand for self-government in parts of the state made by Indigenous Tribal Leaders Forum (ITLF). Talking to the media in Imphal on Thursday, Education Minister Basanta Kumar Thajanam, also serving as the Law Minister, announced that decisive legal action is being initiated against the ITLF and its office bearers. It can be recalled here that a meeting attended by ruling party legislatures unanimously resolved to condemn the ITLF demand.
Meeting of ruling legislators was held today, that is on 16/11/2023, and strongly condemns the statement of ITLF.
In sports news, the Indian men's football team kicked off its FIFA World Cup 2026 AFC qualifiers second round campaign with a 1-0 victory against Kuwait at Zubair Al Ahmed International Stadium in Kuwait City on Thursday. Indian winger Manveer Singh scored the only goal of the match. Faisal Zaid Al Harbi of Kuwait, on the other hand, was sent off in second half stoppage time. India, 102nd in the FIFA rankings, were restricted to their own half early on in the match as the world number 136 Kuwait dominated the ball possession. The Indian football team thus registered its first victory against Kuwait this year. In Arunachal Pradesh, Deputy Chief Minister Chawna Main, after attending a Kosari Bihu dance performance at Kumari Kosari village under Lekang Circle in Namsai, has said it was a cultural delight. He said he experienced sheer joy and wonder while witnessing what he called an enchanting Kosari Bihu performance. In a social media post, he said this performance was a true spectacle to behold. In Meghalaya, the city of Shillong is now once again turning pink as cherry blossoms have started blooming all over the city. In several areas of the city, the cherry blossoms are already blooming, while in many areas it is yet to take its full effect. It may be mentioned that the cherry blossoms add more charm to the beauty of Shillong. To celebrate this phenomenon, Meghalaya government is organizing the annual Shillong Cherry Blossom Festival. Scheduled to start today, the first day of the festival was cancelled due to adverse weather conditions. Still in Meghalaya, Education Minister Rakkaming Sangma said education and knowledge are the best assets to be left behind to the younger generation. Visiting the Shillong Literary Festival, Sangma was seen purchasing books on the Autonomous District Council of Meghalaya and the Khasi Society. The festival was held in Wards Lake in the capital city. This festival is a medium to converse dialogue, share, listen and engage through stories, language, literature, poetry and the many intersections with living cultures and the environment.
About the displaying the quality, the beauty that the Shillong, the Meghalaya that we have, and I think this is really like to display what the asset that we have. It's like in the book forms in this kind of festival. I think.
To end the news, the main points once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates Voice of Global South Summit, advocates restraint in dialogue in Hamas-Israel conflict. Voting comes to an end peacefully in single-phase assembly polls in Madhya Pradesh and final phase polls in Chhattisgarh. Meghalaya Cabinet endorses NCERT textbooks for the first to 10 standards with modification. Election Commission refuses to change December 3 vote counting date in Mizoram. And in FIFA Soccer World Cup qualifiers, India begins second round campaign with 1-0 victory over Kuwait. That brings us to the end of this evening's bulletin. Thank you for tuning in. Namaskar.